Hi guys, how are you doing? Today we're doing like a deeper reading. Okay, we're going for more a shadow work. I'm using the Sacred Woundings Oracle deck, and I'm going to do a spread from their book. Today I'm doing the spread, the Wound Illumination spread. It is for deep understanding of a specific wound pattern. Okay, so it is a spread. So let's see how it goes, which wounds we're going to get. I'm thinking to also use tarot to go deeper, so we can get more information. I'll get first the cards, and then after I got all the cards, we're going to start talking about them. Okay, so the first one is the core wound. Core wound. Okay. And then origin, I don't know what to say, are the root cause from this wound. Okay. Hmm. Higher purpose, soul lesson. Okay. Hmm. Hidden medicine gift. Okay. And path to integration. Okay, we have our cards. Now we're going to take a look. Today is definitely going to be probably a longer reading. Okay, because let's see. Right, I don't know. You never know. Let's see, because in this book there's also like talking about these wounds. Um, so let's see how deep we're going in this one. Okay. So okay, so let's go for the core wound. Okay. An overemphasis on external validation. Will show up as constantly seeking approval or recognition from others, often at the expense of self-worth. It may manifest as feelings of insecurity, anxiety, or emptiness when external praise or acceptance is lacking. Um, well, let's let's read about it. Considering that is the main wound that we're going to external, is an E. Your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. The wound of external validation thrives on the belief that your value is determined by how others perceive you, that you must constantly prove your worth in order to be accepted, loved, or respected. It convinces you that your sense of self is reliant on others' recognition, leaving you constantly chasing approval and feeling incomplete when it's not received. This wound often results in comparing yourself to others, seeking external affirmation, or feeling diminished when others fail to notice or acknowledge your worth. The truth is, your value was never tied to their perception of you. You do not need to prove your worth to anyone. Healing this wound is about reclaiming your power to define your worth. It's about learning that you are enough, regardless of how others see you or what they fail to recognize. When you stop seeking validation from external sources, you create a space for self acceptance and inner peace. Your value remains constant and unshaken, regardless of outside opinions. The moment you realize that your worth is inherent and not dependent on anyone else's recognition, you free yourself to live authentically and fully without the need for external validation. I don't know, guys. Is there someone whose your ear is itchy? Because since like I started, like this really, my ear is so itchy. It's like my left ear. It's so fucking itchy. Anyway. Okay, external validation. What else can we know about this one? I was hearing that perhaps you're not like really hearing your intuition, your feminine side. We all have masculine and feminine energy. So I was hearing that perhaps you're not hearing the feminine energy, you know. Okay, let's see. What else can we know about this external validation? And, oh, I forgot to light up the candles. Ugh. There you go. Feel better. Okay, so we got the Seven of Pentacles here, so I do feel like, yes, it's interesting that we got this card here because I do feel like you're kind of waiting for people to maybe tell you stuff, to like come to you. Um, it's almost like you don't really take action towards stuff because you're kind of waiting people to come to you. So perhaps like you can actually see if you can actually do things. I do think that you want to build a foundation with the Four of Wands. Uh, but you need to understand like that you need to be strong about it. You know, to actually if you want to change it and if you want to create a better foundation, like a stronger foundation, you need to be like strong to like look at it as it is right now. The left. Origin root cause. Needing to address a grounding deficit will show up as a feeling of being disconnected from the present moment, often leading to confusion, anxiety, or lack of clarity. You may struggle with focus, feeling scattered or overwhelmed, as if you're unable to anchor yourself in your physical reality or in your body. Oh, not focusing. There you go. Okay. Well, let's read all about them, right? Because I do feel that perhaps there is something that you can take from those stuff. So, but yeah, grounding that said is like, um, yeah, you definitely need to work on your foundation for sure. Because when you have a stronger foundation, you can connect with source easily, you know. So the level of connection that you are grounded is the level of connection that you can connect with source. 303 on the clock. Like a tree, you must find your roots before you can reach the sky. No. A grounding deficit leaves you feeling disconnected, adrift in your thoughts, untethered from the present, as if life is happening around you rather than through you. It manifests as restlessness, difficulty focusing, chronic overthinking, or feeling emotionally or spiritually ungrounded. When you are not rooted, everything feels unstable. Your sense of self, your ability to trust, even your capacity to feel at home in your own body. You may struggle to feel fully present, constantly seeking something to anchor you while you're resisting the stillness that would provide it. Healing this wound is about finding your roots, creating a foundation that keeps you steady even as life moves around you. It is about reconnecting with your body, the earth, and the present moment, rather than escaping into overthinking or avoidance. Like a tree, you must plant yourself firmly before you can grow freely. The more you cultivate presence through breath, movement, nature, and mindful awareness, the stronger and more stable you become. You are not meant to drift. You are meant to stand tall, deeply rooted, unshaken by the winds of uncertainty, knowing that you are always supported. So yeah, so maybe you need to think about situations that it makes you feel like anxious, it makes you feel like disconnected. I do recommend for you to do some shadow work specific for your roots. Um, it's really good, you know. There's a lot of like journals and stuff that you can check it out to how can you work on your root chakra. But then also you can do other things to work on your root chakra. So like food, Reiki, or even like sound baths that are focused to your chakra, you know, like even like yoga as well. There's some there is like yoga that some positions that will help you for that to kind of try to open that up a little bit. So that might be interesting for you. Okay. What else can we know about this grounding deficit? My my lips are peeling so much today. It's insane. What else can we know about this needing to address grounding bath set? Okay. Yes, we got that. Eight of Swords and the Tower. So I do feel here that exactly there are some limiting beliefs here. There are some beliefs that you need to burn it to the ground. You know, yeah, just got me to my a song in mind. Burn it to the ground, burn it to the ground. Is Presti Veil. I'm not sure. Maybe someone will text you. Anyway, because I just got a message, so um, but yeah, I prevail. I prevail, actually. The name, the band. But yeah, but there's some transformation if you want to like change. There's definitely like limiting beliefs, things that you've been putting yourself in that position right now. And for you to transform, you need to burn the foundation. You need to like free yourself from this like blindfold. You know, you need to free yourself from this. But usually we need to see what we have in our foundation and then like keep what it makes sense for us and leave like and burn what doesn't. So I feel like you need to work on your roots right now for sure because this is the root. This is where this core wound comes from. Bum bum bum. Top high purpose soul lesson. Needing to heal from reactive abuse will show up as responding to emotional or physical aggression with defensive or impulsive reactions, often as a result of prolonged mistreatment. It can manifest as guilt, confusion, or shame, as the individual may feel responsible for their actions while unaware of the toxic dynamics at play. So this is what you should like what is this is the lesson that you need to learn from this. You know, like how you react towards like people, situations. What else can we know about this? For a lot of you, it may be especially like emotionally. Perhaps every time that there's like some emotional emotions involved. Interesting. Then we got Knight of Wands, that is a really reactive energy. So I feel like every time there's emotional stuff, you get really reactive. And we also got Justice at the bottom. So I do feel here that you don't really know how to balance your actions and your emotions, and that's why you get that reactive. Interesting. I do feel like sipping a lot for some reason. I have no idea why. I'm usually really good to like take to wait for like to drink my tea. I don't know. I just feel like sipping a lot for some reason. Um, let's read about reactive views. When a toxic person can no longer control you, they will try to control how others see you. Unknown. Reactive abuse is the moment you are pushed beyond your breaking point, when relentless manipulation, gaslighting, and provocation lead you to finally snap, only to have your reaction weaponized against you. It is the abuser's final trick to shift blame, to paint you as the unstable one, to make you question whether you were the problem all along. This wound convinces you that your emotions are dangerous, that your anger is shameful, that no matter how much you were provoked, you should have stayed calm. Over time, it creates deep self doubt, self blame, and an overwhelming fear of your own emotional responses. Healing the reactive abuse wounds begins with reclaiming your right to feel. Your reactions does not erase the abuse that led to it. Your anger is not proof that you are broken. It is proof that you were pushed beyond what was bearable. The work is not in suppressing your emotions, but in understanding them, in learning to self regulate without silencing yourself. You are not defined by how you responded under extreme distress. You are defined by how you reclaim your voice, your truth, and your self trust moving forward. Your emotions are not your enemy. The only thing that ever needed to be controlled was the situation that forced you to react. Interesting. Now, hidden medicine gift. Breaking repetitive pattern syndrome will show up as feeling stuck in the same situations or behaviors, despite your desire for change. It requires awareness, courage, and the willingness to make different choices for growth and healing. Quite interesting. So perhaps there's like people situations that it's always happening the same time, just like same thing all the time. And then you need to look at it to see where those things are happening so you can actually break the pattern. What else can we know with this about breaking repetitive pattern syndrome? We have the moon, nine of wands, and 10 of pentacles. So I feel like for you, maybe right now it's kind of tricky to see the patterns happening. Uh, Perhaps you're like this kind of person that you believe that just because it's hard, it's kind of worth it, kind of thing. So you kind of keep like trying to get what you want. Um, but I do feel also that like there's some, of course, there are some people here watching that they're like that. Um, but maybe that's the pattern. Okay, maybe that's the pattern that like that you cannot see. That like you think just because it's hard, it's worth it's worth it. Then like you keep trying till like you get to a point that you don't know if you should give up, but instead of giving up, you keep going. Because you see potential in it. But then like keeps like the cycle, the pattern, it never ends. So I do feel here that you should like take a look where things like situations or connections or people that like you think is difficult, and then you keep trying really hard, but you're not like really seeing like there is like actually a pattern happening in that situation that it should be broken. And the bottom is the path. No, wait. Here, let's read about it. Right, I didn't read about it. Pattern syndrome. Did I? No, right? Mm, okay, it's not on P. So maybe breaking. Mm, where is that one? Repetitive. Repetitive pattern syndrome. If you want something different, you have to do something different. Jack Canfield. Repetitive pattern syndrome is the experience of reliving the same struggles, attracting the same toxic relationships, or making the same choices. Despite wanting a different outcome, this wound convinces you that change is impossible, that no matter how much you hope for something new, you will always end up back where you started. It manifests as self sabotage, falling into familiar yet unhealthy dynamics, or feeling powerless to break cycles that seem ingrained in your life. You may ask yourself, why does this keep happening to me? But the truth is, the pattern persists because a part of you is still unconsciously placed by the same old rules. Healing this wound begins with radical self awareness and intentional action. The cycle only continues when you react the same way. Choose the same comfort zones or ignore the lessons life is trying to teach you. If you want something different, you must be willing to do something different. That means setting boundaries where you never have before. Choosing self-respect over familiarity, and walking away from what no longer serves you, even when it feels uncomfortable. The moment you disrupt the pattern, the spell is broken. You are not doomed to repeat the past. You are being invited to rise beyond it. Cool. Okay, so now we're gonna check the path for integration and address the wound of broken trust. Will show up as difficulty relying on others, fear of betrayal, and a tendency to isolate or push people away. This wound is rooted in past experiences where trust was violated, leaving a lingering fear of being hurt again, and often manifests as an inability to fully open up or believe in the sincerity of others' intentions. Interesting. Okay. What else can we know about this? Yes, we got Temperance, King of Cups, and Page of Pentacles. There we go. So, if with Temperance, I do feel like there's this conscious and subconscious thing that it definitely like needs to be balanced. Like right now there's no like balance between that. Um like when it says here, right? Is rooted in past experience where trust was violated. So I feel like here there's a lot that you're carrying that it's more like subconscious than conscious, like related to that. With the King of Cups, I feel like that's kind of I feel like you need to take control of your emotions. Like you need to understand how you feel, kind of thing. With the Page of Pentacles, I do see here that perhaps it is time for you to learn something more about that. And as well, like perhaps you don't know how to give or to receive. And that may be something that you've been struggling as well. But I do feel like here you need to work on a way to truly like master your emotions and like working your conscious and subconscious. Let's read about it. Oh my God, I'm so hot right now. I'm so hot. I know I'm drinking like hot tea, but it's not that hot anymore, no. Broken trust. The best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. Yeah. Ernest Hemingway. Broken trust is a wound that lingers long after the betrayal, reshaping how we see others, how we protect ourselves, and how we navigate the world. It teaches the mind to question everything, to seek proof before believing, to hesitate before opening up. But trust is not something you analyze into certainty. It is something you choose. No amount of caution can guarantee safety, and no wall built high enough will ever keep pain away forever. To trust again is not to forget the past, but to refuse to let it define the future. The truth is, trust is always a risk. It does not come with guarantees, and it will never be without its best. But living in fear of broken trust only ensures that you never fully experience connection. Healing does not mean trusting blindly, it means trusting wisely. It means listening to your intuition, discerning who has earned your vulnerability, and remember that trust begins not with others, but within yourself. The past may have given you reasons to doubt, but only you can decide if those doubts will keep you from ever stepping forward again. That's kind of cool. Because it is like how we got the Eight of Swords, right? It's like you're putting the blindfold there. Like you can just escape from it. It's just, are you going to do it? Are you going like to like are you gonna let the past keep it like dictating how you live, that kind of stuff, you know? Um anyway, that's quite interesting. I'm gonna ask an advice for you right now so we can close the reading. What's the advice for you? Okay. The Road and the Hanged Man. So I do feel here that um you need to close the cycle of this stuck energy. You know, you need to pay attention where this like cycle keeps like repeating like this. What which situations and people like you're kind of stuck, right? And you need to I feel like you need to actually see that first. You need to because you need to acknowledge it. Because the only way for you to work on it, you need to acknowledge it. Okay. And we got Four of Wands and Strength again. So I do feel here that, you know, that's, I feel like when you actually acknowledge it, you're going to actually be able to build this foundation, to actually work on it. But, and like, I feel like right now you need to be strong enough to look at it. But then you also have to keep like being strong to build the foundation because it takes a while, right? Imagine that you already have like a castle, right? Built, but the castle doesn't look like something that you like. It's like, maybe it's like cracked. How do you say that? Is like, um, it's not the color that you like. The how it's inside. The divisions are not like, it's not, you don't like it. You don't like things. You don't like the walls. Like you don't like the windows. Don't like the doors. Blah blah blah. A few things you can change it, right? Without like burning it down, like without like destroying all of it. But then you start to realize that the soil is not good either, right? That like how things start like to crumble, like it doesn't grow plants around it, it doesn't grow flowers or trees or anything around it because the soil is not fertile, I know. And so what you're gonna do, you know, um, so what you can do, you can get what is worth it from this building that you have right now and take to another place, to another soil, and then like you can look for a better soil, like where you actually see that there's growth, there's something like somewhere there where you know um can grow things, and try to use some of the stuff that you have there that you had in the other building, um so then you know you can actually find, because like if you keep like just working on that building, perhaps it's just like repeating the cycle. Perhaps you truly need to just move to actually um I think like foundation is really important. Like I said, root chakra, I think like maybe really important for you to work on that right now. Yeah, but that's it. You need to close a cycle. So, and I feel like you have to really, when you decide to do it, you need to go for it, you know. Um, because I'm picking up like some energy here that maybe you guys would just like come back to the other cycle, to the past cycle. But like when you like you need to truly commit to it, and like I'm doing it. So, I'll get this fucking thing that kind of energy. Okay. Well, guys, that's the message for you today. I think it's pretty cool. I think it was really cool to use this deck like this, like a spread. I feel like we have like a better overview of the wounds. And then we also like notice, right, like how they can be connected to each other. Because sometimes we don't have like that perception. Because like while I'm doing the reading, I'm also thinking about me, like what's like what of those I still have to work on, like, and it's quite interesting how we can kind of see that like we're always going to have something to work on it, but how like they connected each other, like in the spread. I like it. I like doing a spread instead of just like getting a random wound. I think this was pretty cool. Anyway, guys, this is the reading for you today, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.